Welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ daily news television show, broadcasting live and available on demand on your favorite streaming channels.
Analytics company vidIQ has certified the Queer News Tonight YouTube channel as the world's most popular LGBTQ streaming news show. Our queer stories have reached over 11 million views.
We are proud that Queer News Tonight has more YouTube subscribers than any other LGBTQ brand in Florida. Thank you for watching and supporting our voice in the LGBTQ community. There is no other news program in the LGBTQ world like Queer News Tonight.
It is Thursday, August 14th. We are live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we will tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
You're watching Queer News Tonight, the world's first daily LGBTQ evening news show.
Welcome to the world's most important LGBTQ evening news show. Hotspots Magazine Happening Out Television Network is a nonprofit 501c3 media company in the same model as PBS and NPR, but designed for the LGBTQ community.
Our nonprofit mission is to support the 11 pillars of our LGBTQ community. We want to inform and educate on the key issues of lesbian, trans, Latino, Black, healthcare, senior, students, faith, social justice, business, and queer culture. Help us support our diverse community. We are part of one of the largest LGBTQ nonprofit media companies in America, Hotspots Magazine and Happening Out Television Network.
In 2025, our magazine is celebrating 40 years of the LGBTQ experience, and Queer News Tonight is celebrating our 5th anniversary with more than 10,000 LGBTQ television stories. We present South Florida's major LGBTQ events, including Pride Fort Lauderdale, Stonewall Pride, and Pride Fest. Our nonprofit 501c3 magazine, events, television news, talk, and entertainment shows all support our mission to educate the LGBTQ and broader communities.
In 2025, more than 100 community leaders will sit at this table and share their voices as our anchors. Together, we will host this show to support the LGBTQ community. Let's meet this evening's anchors at Queer News Tonight. Let's welcome anchor Dr. Bobby Huen, a world traveler and well-versed in global affairs. Bobby provides an international perspective on current events. A PhD in conflict resolution, Bobby is a certified civil and family mediator and the founder of BH Conflict Resolution Services. Bobby, the Pride Center Lung and Heart Health From Breath to Beat Town Hall is on August 26th. Tell me, what's happening out?
Well, on Tuesday, August 26th, the Pride Center at Equality Park in Wilton Manors will host the Wellness Hero 50+ Town Hall focusing on lung and heart health from breath to beat. Presented by the Pride Center's Wellness and Active Aging programs, this hybrid event will welcome both in-person and virtual attendees. The program will bring together health experts, community members, and wellness advocates to share vital information on maintaining lung and heart health, particularly for adults aged 50 and above. Through interactive discussions, expert presentations, and practical advice, participants will learn how to protect, strengthen, and monitor their respiratory and cardiovascular well-being. You can join on site at 2040 North Dixie Highway or tune in online. The Pride Center is a welcoming, safe space that celebrates and empowers the LGBTQ communities in South Florida. More at pridecenterflorida.org. Well, there should be a meaningful event for people who need some help with exercise. And
I mean, everybody should do it. I mean, I literally just left the doctor's today. I had a little bit of a heart problem this weekend that I was had pains, and I'm part of the 50+ community. And so I think everybody should, it's better to be prepared, and it's better to check before than do something afterwards, because doing something afterwards might, be too late. So, things like this are really good, even for anybody in the community. Right. Heart problems and health problems can happen to anybody at any age.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, and in this population, I mean, we have such a growing older advancing community, I should say, as a member of that community.
Yes.
I know I myself don't think of myself at the age I am, and I'm just like, oh shit, I'm part of that group.
Absolutely, yeah. No, I that's really true. A lot of us, we don't look or act or feel that age, but we are that age, and our body is going to tell it to us one day.
Exactly.
So
it's important to
important.
celebrate little events like this.
Absolutely. And Queer News Tonight looks forward to seeing you at Lung and Health Town Hall on August 26th. That is a big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight. Let's welcome Buddy Frey. He supports many of South Florida's local nonprofit organizations like Julian's Fountain of Youth and the Stonewall National Library Museum. Buddy, Imperial Sun Court of all Florida brings us the second annual Black and White Ball on August 30th. Tell me, what's happening out?
You know, this is exciting. Building upon their years of philanthropy, the Imperial Sun Court of all Florida will host the Black and White Ball, a lip-sync extravaganza, at Elliott Hall of UCC Church on August 30th. Hosted by Imperial Crown Prince Marshall Schneider Harris Lariat and Imperial Crown Prince Twyla, guests will be treated to a night of royalty, community, and drag excellence. The cocktail hour is at 6 p.m. and the show starts at 7. Dress in your most fabulous black and white attire and join us for an unforgettable evening of glamour, laughter, and iconic performances, all in support of Reign's 7 charities: Pink Nail Society, Safe Schools, Transpire Help, and Ruth Ministries. The $30 cover includes appetizers and drinks. For more information, details are available at ISCOAF.org. You know, it's always great to see organizations with this kind of outreach to so many different nonprofits to have such an exciting event, and I know it's going to be a spectacular one.
So if most people don't know what the Imperial Court system is, it's one of the largest and oldest LGBTQ organizations in existence, next to the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, and they're all over the United States. And this is what they do. I'm actually part of the court. I was one of their first crowned queens, and they do raise money for organizations and everybody in the community. And when we say in the community, they really do reach out into the community all through all of Florida. So, you know, it's really great that they're keeping the legacy strong. Prince Trilla is an amazing performer and a super host. And so if you've never went to one of this organization's events, you should definitely check it out because it's always a fun time.
And at $30 a ticket, it's nice to see that they're affordable, because I know in this day and age, everyone is struggling to make money, so ticket prices are tending to go a little higher.
Absolutely.
Just because we're trying to make up for lack of resources.
And that's the thing with organizations like this, they are a pass-through organization, so they don't get government funding, and they're helping supplement money that these organizations, the government funding is getting cut. So this, you know, organizations like this are very important to keep our community and these other organizations alive. So please, you know, take a moment and go have some fun. And Queer News Tonight looks forward to seeing you and the ISCOAF Black and White Ball on August 30th. That is a big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.
And of course, let's welcome tonight's lead anchor, Rex Rogosh. Rex is a visionary designer with over 30 years of experience in product design, interior design, and architecture. Also known in the drag community as International Lords, Rex recently returned to performing. As president and co-founder of Lantera, he champions mental health awareness through vibrant, inclusive events. Rex, the second annual Women's Equality Day event, is taking place on August 26th. Tell me what's happening out.
Absolutely, Bobby. On Tuesday, August 26th, Women with Pride will join forces with Hollywood Art and Culture Center to present the second annual Women's Equality Day event at the Hollywood Central Performing Arts Center. Presented by Thinking Cap Theater, the evening will feature suffragette comedies, songs, and a celebratory reception honoring the trailblazing women who fought for equality. Doors will open at 6:45 p.m. for a lively reception with a live pianist performing early 20th century favorites, followed by a 7:30 p.m. 1-hour program of comedies and songs penned between 1900 and 1920s. The night will also include the Eras Awards, dessert, conversation, and photo opportunities. This celebration is made possible through a joint social justice grant from the Our Fund Foundation and the Community Foundation of Broward. More details of the event are on thinkingcaptheater.org. I mean, I love, again, Hollywood has been doing a lot of great events that are not necessarily mainstream events, but they're events that need to happen. There's so many different age ranges and demographics in our community, both in the LGBTQ community, but in our allies. And it's really great that Hollywood is coming together and bringing multiple organizations together to do something that, you know, is important to show that we have had a history of women bringing up our community. So there's a way to celebrate them.
And it's also great that they are, they're using that downtown space really well. I mean, downtown Hollywood always needs support, and this kind of events brings people to downtown, whether they want to eat beforehand or, they want to shop. That's a great location.
And for me, what's important is that the Our Fund foundation has typically or historically been a LGBTQ grassroots supporting organizations, so it's nice to see them reaching beyond just the atypical LGBTQ plus organizations. And at the same point, I mean, the theme of this whole production is historical. We're talking about 1900 to 1920s, which I'm sure the vast majority of our audience, or even anybody that I'm aware of, even things past 1970.
Absolutely.
So it's an important historical reference for women and lesbians and gay men to sit there and say, hey, this all began when?
Absolutely. Well, and we've always been around, so it's nice to see that, we're going back and showing that we've always been around.
And as you saw on the screenshot of the poster, I mean, the ages of all the women and the ethnic background of all the women in there was very,
very diverse.
Very diverse, which is always exciting.
Absolutely.
That's great. And Queer News Tonight looks forward to seeing you at the second annual Women's Equality Day event on August 26th. This is a big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.
Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Rex Rogosh, and let's queer up South Florida and Florida. Hotspots Magazine spotlights Island City Stage's bold 2025-2026 season. Our Hotspots Happening Out LGBTQ lifestyle magazine, Hotspots, is back with the Broadway Across South Florida edition. This new issue sheds light on the powerhouse of local theater, Island City Stage, as it unveils a thrilling and unpredictable 2025-2026 season. Known for championing diverse stories and often exploring queer culture, the award-winning company promises a lineup filled with laughter, drama, and those gasp-worthy surprises that keep audiences talking long after the curtain falls. Artistic director of Island City Stage, Andy Rogo, calls it, quote, an extraordinary season of creativity yet unpredictable storytelling, end quote. From jaw-dropping comedies to deeply human dramas, each play promises an ending you won't see coming. The season kicks off November 6th with Ruthless, a campy cult favorite musical comedy about an 8-year-old aspiring star who'll stop at nothing to shine. January 2026 brings the Southern Gothic classic The Little Foxes, exposing greed and betrayal in one wealthy family. In April next year, Light Switch offers a touching journey of love and identity through the eyes of a gay autistic man. May will introduce the Florida premiere of Everything Beautiful Happens at Night, set in 1980s Manhattan, blending creativity, loyalty, and reinvention. The season wraps next August with the satirical comedy Eureka Day, where inclusive ideas implode during a mumps outbreak at an elite private school. Audiences can also enjoy Women's Night at the theater, Mimosa Sundays with post-show talkbacks and late-night comedy after hours. Flexible ticket packages and group discounts make it easy to be part of the magic. To know more, grab the free copy of the upcoming issues of Hotspots Magazine on stands today, August 14th. I love local theater, and our local theater is a powerhouse. I have seen many shows there, and they are very unexpected. The staging is beautiful. It's very intimate because it's a smaller theater, and it's really great to see them keeping alive and bringing, shows that not our everyday, kind of run-of-the-mill plays that you can go anywhere and see. So it's great. So support the local theater, go and see it. The fact that they have Mimosa Sundays, I think I'm going to be there a little bit more often now that I know this.
I am actually. I was thinking like the comedy nights.
Yeah.
That might be fun.
No, absolutely. It's again, our community has a lot of diverse things, and it's just stepping out of your door and going and trying something new, and you never know, you might get hooked and become a lifelong member of the
And
theater.
we have a lot of talent.
Absolutely, we have a lot of talent.
And that's what's exciting to show people.
Absolutely, and a lot of our talent is not always on the drive.
Right.
So definitely, that is a big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.
Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Bobby Huen, and let's queer up South Florida and Florida. The CNN's Jim Acosta really interviewed a dead Parkland student on AI. On August 4th, 2025, what would have been Joaquin Oliver's 25th birthday, former CNN anchor Jim Acosta released an interview unlike any he's done before. Sitting across from him was not a living guest, but an AI-generated version of Oliver, one of the 17 people killed in the 2018 Parkland school shooting. The AI likeness created by Joaquin's parents, Patricia and Manuel Oliver, was trained using his writings, social media posts, and recordings of his voice. On screen, the digital Joaquin spoke with moving lips and minimal facial gestures, realistic enough to be haunting. Manuel said, quote, "This is a very legit Joaquin," end quote, in a follow-up discussion with Acosta. The AI Joaquin voice supports for stricter gun laws, mental health care, and community outreach.
Joaquin, I would like to know what your solution would be for gun violence.
Great question. I believe in a mix of stronger gun control laws, mental health support, and community engagement. We need to create safe spaces for conversations and connections, making sure everyone feels seen and heard. It's about building a culture of kindness and understanding. What do you think about that?
I think that's a great idea, Joaquin.
Manuel defended the project, saying it allows Joaquin's voice to stay active in the fight for gun reform. The tragedy that claimed Joaquin's life was perpetrated by a disturbed man who had a history of behavioral issues and had posted racist, anti-Semitic, xenophobic, sexist, and homophobic content online. The push for gun control has long connected the Olivers to the LGBTQ community. Gays Against Guns, also known as GAG, hosted a dance event at the NYC AIDS Memorial alongside the couple in 2023, formed after the 2016 Post nightclub massacre, which targeted LGBTQ people. Gays Against Guns blend activism and arts to demand change. For critics, Acosta's AI interview was, quote, profoundly gross, end quote. For the Olivers, it was another step in keeping Joaquin's legacy and the fight for gun control alive. I'll say this. If it was a third person who did it, if it was a third party who did it, I will probably say that that's gross. Like, you plug someone who's dead to make an AI avatar. But since it is his parents and they are trying to preserve his legacy, I'm like, okay, that's fine. Do what you need to do. That's what you want to do, and that's fine.
Look, AI is here to stay. And
unfortunately.
Again, love it or hate it, AI is here to stay. I agree with you. This was his parents. They were the ones who did this, so it's no different than keeping the ashes of your beloved in an urn on it's their way of keeping him alive, his memory alive, and so for that I will say yes, I agree. What I don't agree with is using it in this type of a format, because AI is not that smart, and his answers felt a little programmed. Because I don't believe that he would have said anything about gun control and that types of things before
the shooting.
And I agree with you to a degree there. My concern is that there are so many misinformed, undereducated people who will see this and go, it's a real person.
Absolutely.
And so the fact that I'm not, because I didn't see the full interview, I'm concerned that there should constantly be a title underneath this, a caption saying this is an AI representation of Joaquin and represents his parents, because there is concern about, at this early stage of AI, too much of it is potentially manipulated. I mean, we've seen the AI of
100%.
politicians. We've seen the AI out of the White House. We've seen,
Right.
and it's so obviously manipulated and overproduced to the advantage of their particular moment.
Correct.
That this particular situation has me concerned, because I'm
Agreed.
not saying that the basis of the comments from the Joaquin we saw in the interview isn't based on his writings and his ideas and his heart and soul, but the fact that it was just a little too real, with not a caption underneath saying that this is the AI version of Joaquin. I support his parents to keep his memory alive. I
Agreed.
support his parents to fight the fight. I'm just concerned that this tool might be a little bit too soon and a little bit too potentially manipulated by both sides of the
I
argument.
understand what you're trying to say, but on the other hand, you know, people, the quote-unquote truthers, are going to dig into it no matter what, as Alex Jones in his $1 billion verdict.
So the
That's
so,
my point.
so I think I think we're all saying the same thing. You know, the fact that, you know, they did an interview with somebody who is deceased and brought them back to make some sort of point, was that relevant news, and was that necessary? And I think that's the argument. You know, the AI argument is going to be another argument till.
Well, I think it's relevant. I'm just concerned for Joaquin and his parents and the organization that they're representing with this, because I know they have a foundation or a nonprofit in his memory fighting gun control issues. I'm just concerned that the foundations and the different groups that are extremely for guns are going to manipulate that as easily as anything else and dismiss it, negate it, which they always will. But I think this particular AI version gives them a lot more potential to have it dismissed quickly. And I'm glad that they had an interview with his parents afterwards, or at least his father, to substantiate the data and the comments and the position.
I think we're just not ready to start bringing back dead people to speak truth on something that they might not have necessarily spoke about beforehand.
And this is different than, say, Elvis being produced, or Whitney Houston or Michael Jackson, because they have AI versions of.
Right, but they're only doing
their
songs. The performances only. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I'll put out a question for you guys. If we have we had this technology before during the AIDS crisis, and we can bring people back from the dead, I think I would. I loved one.
That's not making a political statement and fighting a battle.
Agreed.
That's a memory.
That's a memory. Agreed. Well, that is a big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.
Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Buddy Frey, and let's queer up the USA view. Trump makes Kennedy Center honors great again after D.C. police takeover. Just days after ordering a federal takeover of Washington, D.C.'s Metropolitan Police Department, President Donald Trump took the Kennedy Center's red carpet on Wednesday to announce he'll personally host the 2025 Kennedy Center Honors on CBS this December. Presidents have long attended the gala as audience members, but Trump will be the first to take the stage as MC. Standing at a blue presidential lectern, Trump admitted he initially refused, but White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles persuaded him, and, quote, "that's the power she's got."
Since 1978, the Kennedy Center Honors have been among the most prestigious awards in the performing arts. This year, the board has selected a truly exceptional class of honorees. Country music star, actor, and producer George Strait. Second is actor, singer Michael Crawford. Three-time Oscar nominee, Golden Globe Award winner, and action movie icon, and a friend of mine, Sylvester Stallone. Fourth will be one of the most revered singers of the American disco era, Gloria Gaynor. And finally, we'll be honoring one of the greatest rock bands of all time, Kiss. I want to congratulate all the nominees. They're unbelievable people, and we're going to have a tremendous day in December. Thank you very much.
Trump boasted he chose 98% of this year's honorees: country star George Strait, theater legend Michael Crawford, actor Sylvester Stallone, singer Gloria Gaynor, and rock band Kiss. He admitted to having rejected several, quote, woke options. He praised Gaynor's "I Will Survive" as unbelievable and teased a special, very special performance from Kiss. Since naming himself Kennedy Center board chair, Trump has ousted members, ended what he calls, quote, woke political programming, and appointed gay former ambassador Richard Grenell to a new executive role, which prompted Capital Pride Alliance to pull World Pride events from the venues. For many in the queer community, the honors have always been about cultural celebration. But with Trump promising to make the Kennedy Center reflect, quote, our kind of political vision, some fear the gala may now serve more as a stage for his agenda than for the arts. Well, I mean, he's already announced that it's a political event, an event. That last quote that I just gave is pure admission of that.
Absolutely.
I may not agree with the political standings of some of these people because I know three of the honorees are open Republicans in support of the president. The other two, I don't know what their political beliefs are. Regardless, the Kennedy Center honor, I hope, will always be an important one. But the fact that they're making it a political statement, I think, is going to tarnish this year's honorees.
It is, of course, going to be cheapened. Everything he touches turns.
No, I know.
Well, and it's going to be now 14 hours long because he's going to not stay on script. But, right. I mean, to your point, the honors have always been about that person in the genre in which they're being honored.
And celebrating them.
And celebrating them for that.
But it's not
regardless of their political leanings. You know, there are a lot of people out there that are very talented artists, but we don't agree with them politically. So I know that there's a lot of boycott culture and cancel culture out there because they do one thing bad. And that one thing bad might be horrible, but they're also doing something good. And the Kennedy honorees was something that was supposed to be non-political. Let's take away all that.
Which is why the president never was the MC.
Correct. And now he is. So, and he obviously still can't do math. You know, he didn't pick 98% because...
He picked them all.
He picked them all. Or 20, 40, 60, 80%, you know. But, and he's going to ramble on, and he's going to make this about him, like he does everything. You know, this is 100% about him.
And actually not mentioned in the piece, but I read this a week, maybe 2 weeks ago, that the new honors will no longer have the rainbow ribbon because, you know, the rainbow is gay. And therefore, they will cancel the rainbow.
It'll be something else.
I mean, Richard Grenell and, you know, these gay quislings.
Eventually, they're going to try to, you know, cut the rainbows out of the sky after the rain falls. I mean, this is just another...
As a fan of all of these different people for their illustrious careers, and I am truly a fan of all their achievements, I don't think any single one of these people has been vocal to a huge degree. I'm sure there have been I mean, three of the people I know, because they've made minor noise saying, well, I do support this, that, or the other, depending upon the political topic. But it's just sad to see that for this particular year, because it is becoming a political event, their honor is going to be tarnished.
Correct.
And they should have had a much more illustrious honor.
And next 3 years, too. Let's see who they
and unfortunately, Mr. President doesn't pick anybody or associate with anybody who doesn't agree with him in some sort.
To some degree.
So we have to assume that everybody on
this... A lot of flattery was involved, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Which, again, is, to your point, sad, because this was supposed to be something about the arts and not about politics. And yet again, we have turned it into everything he touches does not turn to gold, it turns into politics. So unfortunately, that is a big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight. Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Rex Rogosh, and let's queer up politics. Trump picks out lesbian Tammy Bruce for UN role. But is it really a step up? President Donald Trump has tapped one of his administration's most visible out officials, Tammy Bruce, for a high-profile role at the United Nations, though some insiders aren't convinced that it's an upward move. Trump announced the pick on Truth Social, calling Bruce a, quote, great patriot, television personality, and best-selling author, end quote. Bruce, a lesbian and former radio host, has served as State Department spokesperson under Secretary of State Marco Rubio since the start of Trump's second term. Bruce's political journey has been anything but typical. Once a liberal activist and the first queer woman to host a national mainstream radio talk show, she led the Los Angeles chapter of the National Organization for Women before parting ways with the group in the 1990s. Over the years, she shifted rightward, joining Fox News and building a reputation as a conservative commentator. Despite the ceremonial weight of the title, former U.S. Deputy UN Ambassador Robert Woods said, quote, given the disdain in MAGA world for anything UN, it's hard to imagine Tammy Bruce's nomination as U.S. Deputy Representative to the UN being seen as a promotion, end quote. If confirmed, Bruce will serve under Ambassador-designate Mike Waltz, whose own move to the UN followed his controversial exit as White House National Security Advisor in wake of Singlegate. Like, it's hard for me to even talk about some of this stuff because it's all asinine. It's completely asinine.
I can provide an explanation right away. Tammy Bruce, Richard Grenell, all these LGBTQ people who are out front in administration, they're all window dressing. Richard Grenell is not heading the Kennedy Center, which is a nothing job when it comes to politics.
They're dust.
And Tammy, and putting Tammy in UN, which MAGA world hated.
They want to get out of the UN anyway.
It's just tokenism, and because when our community criticized the administration for basically anti-LGBTQ policies, the White House can point out, see, we have gay people in our administration, except they do nothing. They're
self-hating gays.
Jobs. Exactly, but people who are low information, uneducated, they're going to be like, oh, see, you have a lesbian and a gay, so why are you complaining?
Well, but let's be queer. Let's be queer here. Let's be clear here. Both Tammy Bruce and Grenell are both has been
100%
lacking disappointments. Neither one of them have done anything since the 90s, except be on Fox News.
And we also have Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary.
Well, that's a whole. We're being specific to Tammy Bruce right now. I mean, I am of that generation where I recognize the name, but I had to do homework to figure out who the hell she is, and she's just a 90s version of a has-been reality star. She created problems for herself with the National Organization of Women.
Yep.
They asked her to leave because of comments that she made against some
I did not know that tea.
Yes.
So,
I did not know that.
They asked her to leave. She didn't leave them.
They asked her to leave because she caused a controversy when she refused to address a body of black women about concerns they had about the organization and representing the African American community and people of color. And she just went batshit crazy.
Even in the 90s, there was toxic
in the 90s. And then she got on Fox News, and she just started going further and further and further and further crazy.
And she used to be pro-choice.
Yeah. Now she's not.
Now she's not. And in her own words, she basically said that being a lesbian for her was a choice. That when she was in her relationship,
her 1-year relationship
with an actress
who was 30 years her senior.
Correct. Yes, the tea gets piping, people. She said that she looked at her relationship and she said, I could have a relationship with a man, however, I had to have a woman in it. However, I could have a relationship with a woman and didn't have to have a man with it, so I guess I'm a lesbian. So it was a choice. So again, I'm not even going to call them the gays in the cabinet because they are all self-hating, self-loathing. They're not even window dressing. They barely are the lint that gets in the cracks.
And these people, I don't know if Tammy is married. I know Richard Grenell is. I know Scott Bessent.
She is single, and she has said that she has never been married and will never marry.
And when SCOTUS strike down Obergefell, as Trump was hoping that they would, when they were forced to dissolve their marriage, I'm going to stand there and say, you brought it on yourself.
Look, they don't want to be in the UN, and they needed someone there, so they threw the lowest body. They threw the body, the lowest fruit.
They have to be in the UN for one reason. They need to stay in the Security Council to veto everything.
Right. So this story is just very disappointing on
Yes.
so many different levels, and all we're doing is we're talking about somebody who should have no position of
She shouldn't be in government power.
None of them.
Period.
None of them should.
Period.
Her claim to fame to this point is nothing more than she was a has-been on Fox News.
So basically, we were watching the Fox rendition of the political party. So every day is a show, is basically what we're watching. So again, that is a big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.
Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I am Bobby Huen, and let's queer up entertainment. B.D. Wong leads call to reconsider maybe happy ending casting decision. Broadway film and TV star B.D. Wong is speaking out against a recent casting change in the Tony-winning musical Maybe Happy Ending, and he has brought over 2,400 voices with him. The futuristic love story between two robots, Olivia and Claire, made history when Darren Criss became the first Asian American actor to win a Tony for his role as Oliver. But when Criss stepped down, the announcement that white actor Andrew Barth Feldman would take over sparked backlash from fans who argued the show is an Asian story that should keep Asian leads. In an open letter, Wong recalled past fights over representation, including the 1990 Miss Saigon casting controversy, saying this moment feels, quote, as if no time has passed, as if nothing's changed, as if no one learned anything from that racial dismissal and exclusion 35 years ago, end quote. He described this decision as, quote, a hard slap in the face, end quote, to Asian actors and audiences, noting, quote, no, we don't want to get somebody fired. We must express, though, how painful it is to be passed over, yet how used to it we've become, how incomprehensibly rare Asian shows are, end quote. Broadway stars Ali Stroker, Anthony Rabb, Conrad Ricamora, Joaquina Kalukengo, and Telly Leung signed the letter. Support also came from Crazy Rich Asian star Constance Wu. The show creators Hugh Park and Will Aronson acknowledged the pain the casting change has caused. However, as of now, the team behind Maybe Happy Ending has not directly responded to Wong's letter. This one's tricky.
It is.
It's just because part of it is like, okay, so, I mean, it is an Asian actor, but I haven't seen the musical, so I can't tell how culturally specifically Asian this is. If it is not culturally specific Asian, but because it was written by an Asian person, I don't think this is cultural appropriation. I mean, it's a robot, right? They play a robot.
That's what I was going to ask. It's about two robots.
Right.
So again, I don't know much about this musical either, so I was going to try to look into it. Like, is there a Asian specific, like
Yes.
Miss Saigon?
There is.
Okay.
Apparently, because again, I have not seen this, but the backdrop is in South Korea. So there are references with scenery, there are references with locations, there are references with cultural moments.
Then that makes sense.
That makes sense. But on the other hand, I just want to point out that first, Darren Criss looked nothing like Korean.
Well,
Darren Criss is, I believe, half Filipino.
he is not Korean, but he is Asian.
Yes.
Of Asian
descent.
But as an Asian, I can tell you that we all Asians don't stick together that way. Just like, you can just call a Hispanic person just from random country. And the thing is, I understand that if it is specifically South Korean, then maybe get a Korean actor. Get someone who want to be in that role who is from Korean descent. My fear is that in performing arts, pretending is supposed to be a thing. I get it if there's something culturally specific, but on the other hand, I feel like we are going into the rabbit hole of like, gay roles must only be cast with gay actors, and certain roles must be cast with certain ethnicity, sexual orientation, or nationality. Then we're not pretending anymore. We are just basically making people do things.
Yes. So I agree, because we've had the whole backlash about the live action Ariel. We had, and the writers were like, well, if you really knew what the real story was, and technically Ariel would probably be of, some
black descent,
person of color because, they're from the islands. So I understand that if this show truly is an Asian storyline, it would be like, again, Miss Saigon, they bring up, that they putting a person of color in the role, in that role, that does make sense, that they really should cast people that are relevant to the role of the show. But on the flip side, we've had African American Cinderellas. I'm on the fence with this because while I do understand that we should not be overlooking people for the roles, we have the argument of, casting, gay people for gay roles and whatnot. But then does that mean we only cast straight people for straight roles? There's a lot of, in art itself, there's a lot of flexibility, and if we become too rigid with it, then it's no longer art, it is us just recreating our own life.
A point was made in my research that this show has been done in Japan, this show has been done in China, and the casts reflect the community. And because I believe B.D. Wong was making the point about this as a Korean show, then how can you go to other countries and expect that the cast is only going to be Korean? Because I know at this point... They're different
cultures.
Because at this point I know 99% of the original cast is, I'm going to say Asian just because I don't know if every single one of them is Korean. So that's a difficulty for me to understand. And also the fact that it's been pointed out that in different, as shows age and they disappear and then they come back and they're reborn and they're redone, it typically reflects the community at that point in time. So the scenery changes and there are references to modern society that are tossed in there potentially, or
adaptations.
Adaptations. So how does that play onto this?
And also just remember that in the very early days of acting, even either Shakespearean or Japanese no theater, all roles were played by men. Men have been in drag for thousands of years.
Yes. So, look, they were, and we have evolved. So to your point, when adaptations come out, they evolve. So again, I think as artists, we have to be sensitive to the art in which we are portraying. So if I were cast in a role for a predominantly Japanese or Korean play, written, directed, the language was about a Korean culture, yes, I think people should be upset about that.
Actually, talking about funny casting. So this is an aside, but in North Korea, all those U.S. soldiers that defect after the Korean War, they actually cast them in movies playing stereotypical evil Americans.
Well, but I think it's important that as the adaptations take place, we want to be respectful. You don't want it to be...
No.
And I'm going to make a historical reference that I know a lot of people aren't going to realize. When Breakfast at Tiffany's was done, there was an American actor who played a Japanese neighbor.
Yes. Mickey Rourke. No, isn't it Mickey Rourke? No.
I just had it, and because you said Mickey Rourke, I lost it. No. But at that point, it was panned. That particular character was panned because it was so stereotypically, and not stereotypic in a
positive way,
funny way.
It was Yellowface. Yeah. And also John Wayne did it, I think, in the Genghis Khan movie. One of them.
Yeah. We've grown as a community and society.
Well,
in some of us.
Yeah. But my point is that as the adaptations go forward, as long as the characters are reflected respectfully.
Agreed.
Now, one last point I want to make against B.D. Wong, or at least question him to, because he made a point in his letter, and I read his letter about how, as a Korean show, this needs to be Korean, and Koreans are so open. Well, during the Vietnam or the Korean War, it's very well known that when Korean women had relationships with men and children were produced, those children were threatened with their lives because it didn't reflect the Korean attitude that you are 100% Korean or you don't exist. especially girls.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of, there's this whole conversation has to go on much deeper and much longer than we have
I can
today.
say plenty about Korean culture, but I'm going to keep my mouth shut now.
No, but my point is, as a non-Korean, I'm a little confused because it's like, there's a lot of ways this can go. And I realize that this is a very popular, very successful show. Darren won awards on this and everything else. But I just think that there are better ways to tackle this conversation than doing it in such a public way and making it become a you're with me or you're against
me. Absolutely. Especially in the arts.
And we have so much problems right now with this whole with me or against me crap that I'm just a little
we have other fishes to fry, bigger ones.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Orange ones.
And that is a big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer not-profit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight. And those are today's headlines from Queer News Tonight. These anchors represent the best of our LGBTQ community.
If our community is important to you, share this news with your friends and family. Join the conversation on your favorite streaming platform. Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines.
We need your support. If our community is to grow and then thrive, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world. This is the only place in the world that tells these types of LGBTQ stories in motion and sound. That is the passion of Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, and Queer News Tonight.
I'm your anchor, Rex Rogosh, and I wish you a fabulous evening on behalf of these LGBTQ reporters, the anchors of Queer News Tonight, including Dr. Bobby Huen and Buddy Frey. We will see you daily at 8 p.m. To our LGBTQ world, we hope you will join us by embracing love, generosity, bravery, be transformative, and queer. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.